What is up, fight fans? Welcome back to the FiteHaus Digital Desk. I'm your host. We are just days away from UFC Fight Night in Houston, Texas, Strickland versus Hernandez at the Toyota Center. Now, everybody is talking about that main event. Sean Strickland, Anthony Hernandez, the cardio machine's going to war. But you guys know me, I live for the prelims. And this Saturday, the prelim card is sneaky good. We've got violence, we've got weird stylistic matchups, and we have had some late drama with the cancellation of Njokuani Smith versus Sokyun Ko. But the show goes on. We have 8 solid preliminary fights to preview, so I want to go through them in order, from the curtain jerker all the way to the featured prelim. Grab your drinks, let's lock in. First up, we are kicking things off in the women's flyweight division with Juliana Killer Miller taking on Carli Judice. This is a classic, save-your-career type of fight. Juliana Miller, the tough winner, has had a really rough go of it lately. She's 5-3 now, coming off a couple of tough losses, and honestly, her striking defense has been the biggest hole in her game. She gets hit way too cleanly, way too often. But she is a dog. She has that grappling base, she has the heart, and she is willing to make it ugly. She is welcoming Carli Judice, who is 5-2. Judice is the cleaner striker here. If you saw her Contender Series fight or her recent regional work, she likes to throw in volume, she has decent straight punches, and she is going to want to keep this standing. The dynamic here is simple. Can Miller get this to the mat? If Juliana Miller stands at range and tries to box with Judice, she's going to get pieced up. Judice is going to target that nose, she's going to target the body, but Miller has that relentless, almost frantic grappling pressure. I think Miller needs to crash distance immediately. For me, the pick leans toward Judice, just because the striking gap is so wide, but if Miller gets a takedown in round 1, things get interesting. It's a desperate fight for Miller, which usually makes for a fun opener. Moving right along to the featherweight division for a fight that I am circling as my sleeper of the night. We have the Monkey King, Jordan Leavitt, facing the undefeated prospect Yadier del Valle. Listen, Jordan Leavitt is always must-see TV. He's 12-3 now, coming off that nasty submission win. We know who he is. He's funky, he's awkward, he's got those weird, flexible hips, and if he grabs a limb, you are in danger. He is the ultimate disruptor. He makes you fight his fight. But he is running into a buzzsaw here. Yadier del Valle is 10-0 and they call him the Cuban problem for a reason. This guy has been tearing people up. He's not just a grappler, he's a punishing wrestler who can crack. He has looked unstoppable in his first couple of UFC outings. The question is, can Leavitt trap him? Del Valle is going to be aggressive. He's going to come forward. Leavitt loves to use that aggression against people, catch a guillotine in a scramble, or roll for a leg. But Del Valle feels like a different tier of athlete right now. He's compact, explosive, and he doesn't make many mistakes. Leavitt has struggled in the past when he gets overpowered physically. I think Del Valle might be too strong and too technical on top. I'm expecting a high-paced grappling match, but Del Valle is a heavy favorite for a reason. Next up at welterweight, we had a major shakeup. Austin Vanderford is out. But stepping in on short notice, we have the Fresh Prince Phil Rowe taking on Jean-Paul Lebosnoyani. Huge props to Phil Rowe. This guy is a gamer. If you don't know Phil Rowe, he is massive for 170. He's 6'3", huge reach, and he has legitimate knockout power in his hands. He's had a mixed run lately, dropping a decision to Ko last November, but he is dangerous every single second the fight stays standing. He's facing Lebosnoyani, who was preparing for a grappler in Vanderford, and now has to deal with a skyscraping striker. Lebosnoyani is a specialist. He's a grappler, a BJJ guy. His path to victory is singular. He has to get this fight to the floor. This is the classic striker versus grappler dynamic, but with extreme physical attributes. If Lebosnoyani can't get past Rowe's jab, he is going to have a miserable night. Rowe's takedown defense has improved over the years, and he's long enough to frame off and punish you. On short notice, cardio is always a question mark for Rowe, but purely stylistically, this is a nightmare matchup for Lebosnoyani. I think Rowe keeps it at range and lands something heavy, and that leads us into another welterweight banger, and honestly, maybe the most violent fight on the prelims. Ramiz Brahimaj versus Punahele Soriano. Let's talk about Punahele Soriano first. He's moving down to 170. We've seen him at middleweight for years. Heavy hands, iron chin, but always undersized and sometimes struggling with cardio. Now he's cutting the extra 15 pounds. That is the X factor. Will the weight cut drain his chin? Or will he be a monster with a speed advantage at welterweight? He is fighting Ramiz Brahimaj, who is the definition of a specialist. The man has a ear-slicing elbow in his highlight reel, but really, he is a guillotine merchant. If you shoot on him, you're getting choked. If you leave your neck out in a scramble, you're getting choked. He just beat Vanderford with a guillotine a few months ago. Here is the breakdown. Soriano has to headhunt. He has to touch Brahimaj's chin early. Brahimaj is not a K1 striker. He gets hit, but if Puna hurts him and dives in for the finish, he has to be so careful. Brahimaj creates chaos to find the neck. I'm really worried about Puna's gas tank at this new weight class if he doesn't get the first round KO. But if he touches Ramiz, Ramiz will go down. It's a coin flip, knockout or submission. And speaking of crucial matchups where ranking spots are on the line, we are shifting gears to the women's bantamweight division for a battle between two ranked contenders, Nora Cornolle and Joselyne Edwards. This is a striker versus clincher matchup. Nora Cornolle, the French standout, has been looking sharp. She's got that Muay Thai background. She likes to throw knees, she's aggressive, and she hits hard for 135. She is currently sitting at number 12 in the rankings, and she protects that spot with violence. She faces Joselyne Edwards, number 14, who is a very different type of fighter. Edwards is tall, lanky, but she loves to make the fight ugly. She wants to push you against the fence, lean on you, throw little knees, and just wear you out. She's gritty. She wins those split decisions that make Twitter angry because she just controls where the fight takes place. For Cornolle to win, she needs space. She needs to keep Edwards off of her so she can land the power shots. If Edwards gets her hands on Cornolle and drags this into deep waters, into the clinch grind, that favors the Panamanian. However, Cornolle seems to be the one with the higher ceiling right now. Her striking is crisp, and I think she's faster. I like Cornolle to stick and move, avoiding the hugfest, and maybe landing something significant in the second or third round to steal it. Let's drop down to the flyweights. Speed, speed, speed. Alden Coria versus Louis Gurule. Alden Coria is a guy who has been on the cusp for a while. 11-3 record, fights out of Houston, so he is the hometown guy here. He's very well-rounded, good scrambles, decent boxing. He's one of those guys who is just solid everywhere, but maybe lacks that one elite A+ attribute. He's taking on Louis Gurule, who is 10-2. Gurule is aggressive. He brings that Colorado high-altitude cardio. In the flyweight division, if you can keep a pace that the other guy can't match, you win. That's the formula. Coria is going to feed off that Houston crowd. I expect him to look for takedowns to slow Gurule down. Gurule needs to keep this in the center of the cage and turn it into a kickboxing match. I think this fight goes the distance. It feels like a 29-28 type of fight. I'm leaning slightly towards Coria just because of the experience and the home field advantage. But don't blink, because these 125ers move faster than anyone. Okay, second to last fight of the prelims, and we have a veteran versus a serious prospect. Osbourne versus Alibi Idiris. Osbourne has been around the block. The Jamaican sensation. We know his game. He is incredibly explosive in the first round. He's athletic, he's long, and he has highlight reel power. But we also know the book on him. If you survive the first 5 minutes, OD slows down. He makes mental errors. He gives up position. Enter Alibi Idiris. This guy is 11-1, fighting out of Kazakhstan. And if you know anything about the fighters coming out of that region right now, you know they are built different. Idiris is a grinder. He's tough. He has heavy top pressure, and he doesn't get tired. This is the classic Matador versus Bull scenario, but the Matador only has 5 minutes of energy. I think Osbourne is going to look dangerous early. He might even rock Idiris. But if Idiris just shells up, weathers the storm, and grabs a single leg, it's over. I think Idiris drags him into deep water in rounds 2 and 3 and mauls him. It's a tough spot for Osbourne at this stage in his career. And finally, the featured prelim, the fight that leads us into the main card. Welterweight fireworks. Chidi Bang Bang, Njokuani versus Carlos Leal. Man, I love this fight. Chidi Njokuani is one of the most lethal strikers in the division. When he is on, he looks terrifying. The knees, the elbows, the pinpoint accuracy. He's a sniper. But, like Osbourne, he has had issues with durability and ground defense. He's a kill or be killed fighter. He is taking on Carlos Leal, the Brazilian veteran who made his name in the PFL. Leal is a tank. He's durable, he hits hard, and he walks people down. He is not afraid to take a shot to give a shot. Here is the danger for Leal. Njokuani is a master of the clinch. If Leal just blindly pressures forward, he's walking right into a knee. But here is the danger for Njokuani. Leal has a chin of granite and heavy low kicks. If Leal chops the legs and forces Chidi to fight off his back foot, Chidi fades. I expect a stand-up war. I don't think either guy wants to wrestle here. It's going to be Muay Thai versus Brazilian brawling. I'm leaning towards Leal because of the durability factor. I think he can survive Chidi's best shot and drown him with volume later in the fight. But do not blink, because Chidi Njokuani can end a fight in a split second. So there you have it, guys. That is your full prelim breakdown for UFC Fight Night, Strickland versus Hernandez. From Miller versus Judice all the way to Njokuani versus Leal. This card is stacked with potential finishers. Let me know in the comments, who is your lock of the night? And does Punahele Soriano look good at 170? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep those hands up. Enjoy the fights, and I will see you for the post-fight breakdown. Peace.
What's up, everybody? This is MC Inoue, and you're listening to the FiteHaus podcast. Right on.